Hello everyone, welcome to this video. So in the last video lectures we have already discussed about the various parameters and the various hydraulic design concepts of sewer, how to design a sewer under various hydraulic design parameters. Okay, so now in today's lecture we'll discuss about the wastewater treatment. Okay, introduction to the wastewater treatment. That is the only topic that is being left in this unit. So broadly, this is classified under four categories: preliminary treatment, primary treatment, secondary or biological treatment, and tertiary treatment. So what is a preliminary treatment? Preliminary treatment consists solely in separating the floating materials like dead animals, tree branches, papers, piece of rags, woods, etc. And also sometimes heavy settleable inorganic solids. Now it helps in removing the oils and greases, etc. from sewage, and it reduces the BOD of the sewage to by 15 to 30%. Okay. Now next is your primary treatment. So primary treatment consists in removing large suspended organic solids. Okay. So this is usually accomplished by sedimentation in settling basins. Okay. So what is the basic difference here? Here, in case of preliminary treatment, the main treatment is done in the initial stage only. That is separation of the larger piece of particles like woods, rags, piece of paper, animal waste, polythene and all, which should not enter the sewage treatment plant. So they are separated by coarse screens, medium screens and all by the screening. Okay. Followed by screening, they are also sometimes the sewage being allowed to enter the your grid chambers or uh, detritus tank, where the grid or the solid inorganic particles, larger size sewage is being cut and cut into smaller pieces, and then otherwise it cannot go to the next stage. So it is being cut into smaller pieces and then it is being allowed for the next treatment. The primary treatment, it is only mainly concerned with your primary sedimentation basin. Okay, or that is also called as type 1 settling. The same as we had studied in water treatment plant, where sedimentation with coagulation we have already studied in case of water treatment, water supply. Same in case of sewage also, we have to mm, make this sewage undergo primary treatment, primary sedimentation. Yeah. Sometimes the preliminary or the primary treatment are also classified together as primary treatment. Sometimes what happens is both these two are considered together as the preliminary or the primary treatment. They are not distinguished in some cases, okay, depending upon your sewage loading and all other things. Next is your secondary treatment. So after the primary sedimentation, sewage enters the next stage. Now this is the most important stage. Here the microbial activity or the bacterial activity starts. Okay, here the decaying of the sewage will start based on the activity of microorganisms. So these are more or less your temperature control activities. Here the main two stages are the your rapid filtration, okay, rapid filtration and or trickling filter, that is filtration of the sewage, and then followed by sludge activated sludge process. Okay, here thickening and drying of the sludge will occur. Sludge means the sewage after the secondary treatment, that is the after the filtration, that is the sludge that is coming out. So that needs to be treated. Tertiary treatment, this is very rarely used. This is used mainly in major and bigger cities. Okay, where you need more effective effluent coming out from the sewage. Here more greater degree of BOD removal is required, then you use this tertiary treatment. It is nothing but chlorination. Like in water supply, you use pre-chlorination, post-chlorination, you use all this treatment. Here also we do chlorination, and finally the sewage is made to come out, made to come out from the water treatment plant and then disposed into suitable water bodies like lakes or streams or rivers. Okay, so these are the basic classification of the water treatment plant. If we see this, this is the kind of a flow chart. Okay, so this flow chart describes the entire your sewage treatment process. Okay, so here initially it is the outfall sewer to plant. So here the sewer will end, all the sewer pipes will end, and from here the treatment plant will start. So first is it will encounter a rack or a core screen. As as initially discussed, this falls under this category of preliminary treatment, where your this all the big parts of the sewage, all the inseparable or bigger larger pieces of parts of sewage like paper, wood, piece of cloth, animals, sometimes dead plants, all these parts which are absolutely rubbish and unnecessary, they are being separated using coarse screen. Sometimes may have after the coarse screen you have medium skin and fine skin for other finer particles to get screened. So what it does, it removes the coarse floating matter. Okay, rackings are buried, and whatever being screened here, they are collected and they are incinerated or buried. Okay. Then after that, this sewage will enter. Then there is another process that is called as grit removal method. Right, the grit, the inorganic solids or the organic solid, which are of larger size, they are cut down into smaller pieces using shredding or communators. These are devices which will cut down the solid sewage pieces of size less than 6-7. Okay, so this will reduce the load. Now, after this grit removal basin, this will enter the primary sedimentation tank where settling is allowed. In case of water supply, it also happens here. Settling is allowed. Water is allowed to settle. The sewage is allowed to store in a tank, sedimentation tank, for maybe detention time, maybe 2 hours to 6 hours, depending upon the quantity of sewage that is being treated and the detention period of tank. So it is allowed to get detained or stored for some time. During that time, during that detention period, all the heavier particles will settle down. Okay, and they are removed. These settleable solids are removed mechanically by scrapers or endless chains. Okay, after that it enters a dosing plant where, if required, you do coagulation. Okay, sometimes what happens is some of the finer particles of the sewage, solid particles, still remain in suspension. So in order to remove that, you add alum or other coagulants. Again, coagulate by coagulation, that smaller particles are also removed. Okay, now from here, see, regulates flow into the filter. Now from here up to this, it was all about the preliminary or the primary treatment. Now high rate trickling filter, secondary settling tank, and this sludge dash, these are all parts of the secondary treatment plant. Okay, so this, now after this enters the, from these pipes, regulated flow, this enters the filter. This is high rate trickling filter. In a trickling filter, sometimes the sewage is also recirculated. Okay, to have greater efficiency. Now these are arms. Now the sewage is allowed to sprinkle. Now what happens is this filter will contain beds of gravel, sands, and other pebbles. Okay, based on the gradation of the fine aggregates and the coarse aggregates. These are graded, and this sewage is allowed to fall on this bed, this filter bed, or the filter media. Okay, now as per the specifications, this filter media will have separate layers. First, one layer may be higher, thicker than the other layer. So then it's allowed to, sewage is allowed to settle down, and then clear water, it is being filtered, and that then clear sewage is then made to pass in the secondary settling tank. Again, secondary sedimentation takes another time, sedimentation will take over. Okay, now this removes humus from filter effluent sludge, plowed to center and drawn off. Now from here, sludge is drawn off. Now this sludge is being taken. After the secondary settling tank, this sludge is being taken and it is allowed to digest. That means the here thickening of the sewage will occur. What happens is, when the sludge comes out from the secondary sedimentary tank, it has huge amount of moisture content. Say moisture content maybe 98%, 95%. So it is not the ideal condition to dispose the sewage in in that condition as it is. So what we do is, it is allowed to thicken. That means the moisture is reduced from 98%. The moisture is reduced to, say, for example, 90% or 85 or 80%. It is considerably reduced, and it is reduced by thickening. So it has three phases. Okay, as if now this, in these three processes, the sludge is allowed to digest. So it might take 4 to 5 months. This entire process will take 4 to 5 months, and then finally the clear, it digests sludge from both the silting tanks. Supernatant is sent back to plant. Now it is sent back to plant. See, this is, and now a gas will be produced. This gas is taken for other domestic or other useful purposes. Now then this sewage is taken and glass covered sludge drying bed. The sludge is allowed to dry, and dry sludge can be used as a humus, as a very good natural kind of not fertilizer but natural kind, soil improving quality. It might improve the quality of fertility of the soil. Those the sludge being dried that are being used in such soils. So here from there, your then you go for tertiary treatment sometimes for chlorination and all, and then finally you dispose. So this is you can say a kind of a flow chart of how the sewage treatment is being done. So this is how the entire thing is done. So this completes our fourth unit. In the final unit, fifth unit, we'll study about solid waste management. We'll study about your disaster management, mainly municipal waste and solid waste management. This is the only unit that is being left, and then the syllabus will be completed. Thank you for listening to this video.